Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Success Agent Podcast, where we deliver weekly guests and bring insights into the elements of your business. And this week we have Ryan Ketton, and he has a degree in finance and real estate and actually did appraisals a couple of years. And he has been a realtor since 2017. And right out of the gate, 22 transactions. And then in 2018, 68. And now he's did 93 transactions. And he was a finalist for the Realtor of the Year, both last year and this year. Dang, dude. And so he has a lot to offer today, especially for a lot of you guys out there that have just starting in the business and have just really kind of trying to figure out what systems and what kind of drive it takes to be super successful. And so Ryan's going to bring it today with some knowledge on y'all. So you guys better pay attention, because I know that a lot of you are like, 3 years in the business, already at 93 transactions. What? So Ryan, let's talk about year one and kind of what it took to do those 22 transactions, and then now realizing that there's only so many hours in a day and transitioning from that into a team. So
well, yeah, I knew from day one coming in that I was going to approach this as a business. That I knew I was going into real estate. I was going to have a broker, and I was going to work with a company. I was obviously with somebody different at that point. But I knew what it boiled down to. It was a business. Business takes money, takes resources, takes structure. So, I wrote business plan. I've done that every year and just kind of adjust. But I also knew that I was going to have to try to put some of those resources in. I obviously had less of a budget whenever I first started out than I do now. But I just use those resources to the best of my ability. I spent a lot of time vetting out what type of sources I could get for lead generation. What was I going to get from the brokerage? How did that evolve? Which led me to come to EXP. Mm-hmm. And I just structured everything like that. So I also worked my butt off too. I spent a lot of time. I milked every single lead that I got to the best of my ability with follow-up. I put systems in place, which was part of my business plan. So by the time that I actually got a lead, I knew exactly what I was going to do with that lead all the way through. And then how was I going to move that if something didn't happen within that short time frame, that short window? Because I'm sure everybody listening to this and everybody knows that, your window of time to be successful with especially an online generated lead is that first 3 minutes, 5 minutes, before you just the percentage just drops off a cliff, after that point of whether you'd be able to convert them. So just being accessible and being available.
So how do you, brand new in the business, learn this stuff? Because this is not normal behavior for a brand new agent. You're just getting after it like that. Were self-aware that you needed to get educated through that, or was it part of your previous life that was part of what helped you learn those behaviors? Or did you just know that you just had to hammer and hammer and hammer it because that's just the way that it is?
Well, I think part of my previous life, doing other sales jobs and things of that nature, I was in the medical field for a long period of time in a sales environment, and then kind of moved into a C-level position with a startup company as a director of client services. So I knew you have to hammer and you have to work, and the only success you ever have in life is whatever you create for yourself. So I've always kind of been that person that, people will kind of joke with me. It's like, oh, you somehow always just fall into things, or you're just so lucky. It's like, even whenever you lose something just pops up. Well, I personally know that's not the fact. It's just like, okay, that's a bad situation. Bummer. Okay, how do I turn this around into something else? So having that mentality from the beginning. I also was very aware that once I got into the business and I was working, like I said, for a different brokerage, and you're kind of sold, you'll get this opportunity, and very quickly seeing that that wasn't the case. So I was like, all right, fine. You know, I already came into this knowing I had to build my own business. Now that's even more so of a reality that you have to kind of really create any success that you have. So I never waited for anybody to hand me anything because I knew it
Right.
wasn't going to happen.
Sure.
Because the only person that was really interested in Ryan was Ryan.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
that's how I did it.
Yeah.
Was that I really just had that mentality from the beginning that that I was going to have to create my own success, and I was going to have to be my own cheerleader. And I've also got a pretty strong desire to be the best. So I set goals. I was like, okay, I want to be in this number here, and then after I got there, I was like, all right, next year I can do this.
Yeah, I believe that that's super important with, with anything, especially in real estate, where you got to set your own kind of benchmarks, because what'll happen is you can get in your head so easily in this business, the frustration of, I've got all these leads, I just can't get through, I've called them 14 times, call them 15 times, like
Yeah.
just, like there's a saying, buy or die, like let's just get it,
Yeah.
And well, that's awesome. So now you're year 2, you pretty much like doubled again. You doubled your business the second year, and then you like almost tripled your business by the third year. So now you're doing 96 deals and realizing there's not enough time, probably work until 11 o'clock at night some days, I'm sure, doing paperwork and all that kind of stuff. And so what was the big aha moment about teams?
Well, teams kind of evolved out of just wanting to put some people that were new in the either new in the business or that had been doing it a while, to where they might not have to go through what I did in my first 7 or 8 months. And I wanted to be able to give back. I'm probably a teacher at heart. I like helping people evolve. I help people try to do and emulate things that I've done. And two, I wanted to kind of get to a point to where I could create some space for me to do some other things that I'm passionate about. There's different things that as the business kind of exploded, I wanted to do, maybe some podcasts. I wanted to do some local interviews and things of that nature that I planned whenever I originally got into this to really help my community. And as your business kind of explodes, some of that has to be what kind of falls, to the side and gets put on the back burner a little bit. So for me, that was the building a team and trying to get them up to speed to where I can, one, increase my volume as a whole, because I honestly, truly believe in our market. I believe in me and I believe in what I'm doing, and I'm not trying to be arrogant in that. It's just like I care for people. I have never, ever, ever cared about the money. I want to make a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but it's always been about my client, trying to have as much integrity as I can to help them. And I figure the money will come right after that. So I don't have to worry about the money. I can worry about my client. I can worry about my customers and my community, and the rest will just come with it. So I wanted to help teach other people that that's the right way to build your business, and that if you do that ethically and creatively, and the beautiful thing about EXP is we have so many tools, so many resources like yourself and other people that are willing to share. And if I could do that in my community, wow, what could we really drag? Because my community is one that is, they really, really love their nostalgia and their
Right.
70s and 80s, and
Oh, yeah.
they want to hang on to that.
Yes, they do.
So kind of dragging them. It's like, okay, yeah, still hold on to those morals, those values, but we can do some 21st century stuff.
Yeah, we've got that here too. I think there's a little bit of that in almost every, well, I can't say every community, smaller communities, I should say. It's just the nostalgia piece, and when you come in with a company like ours where things are just kind of drastically different, and it's like, I don't think I've ever met them at the office, like
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, like you said, it's the more you give, the more you're going to get. And when you put your clients first, it's just, it's the energy that you put in which gets the paycheck later. And when you pour your energy into your clients and you're pouring in your time and you really genuinely care, because your clients are going to be able to see through that in a heartbeat. They're like, this guy's not even paying attention while we're talking. Like, he's just cruising through houses and not asking any questions. And he didn't even take the time to do a buyer's presentation before we went out and looked at houses. Like, those are huge little pieces that, as real estate agents, especially the ones that have been in the business a while, they forget about that. We get so house focused instead of client focused a lot of times that we just tend to just go through the motions and like, well, we got a closing out of it, so it's all good. And at the end of the day, that's the wrong attitude to have. And the ones that are being highly productive in your area are definitely able to show that for sure.
Yep.
So, okay, so let's talk about your first hire. Now, did you hire an agent first or did you hire an assistant first?
I hired, they're really close together with hiring. I'm not sure that because it was so close together. I'm not sure which one, because I was pretty much done almost at around the same time. Because that's right now I have two agents. Had a third that they went a different direction. It wasn't quite a good fit, which is going to happen when you're building a team. It's not everybody's going to fit.
Yeah.
And then I've got a virtual assistant. So I've got two fantastic agents, a virtual assistant, and I've got a few others that are kind of in the mix to be moving over soon. So, but the virtual assistant definitely came before these two agents that I got now. I probably had the virtual assistant in place for about 6 months, and these agents I've had in place for a couple months now.
Okay, so let's dive into VAs, because I know that real estate agents are tripping about the VA.
Yeah.
So as an icon,
it's funny you say that, because
whenever blowing up about VAs right now.
yeah, exactly. Because it's we did the iConversation, just participated that on Friday.
Oh, right on.
That came up a little bit, and it was just like instantly. I don't know if we even had to say anything else. I mean, everybody in the chats like typing up, wanting to know about these virtual assistants, and we've had in a email. I think you even posted something that somebody was wanting to know what type of stuff to say for a virtual assistant, or how do you post an ad?
Yeah.
And to me, you can't post an ad, or I mean, you can post an ad about a virtual assistant, but you can't have somebody give you an ad to run for a virtual assistant, because you know what you want.
Right.
What I want out of a virtual assistant is entirely probably different than what you want. I don't want a transaction coordinator right now, even though that would help me. Personally, if I want a transaction coordinator, I want that person to be local. I don't want a virtual assistant for that, because there's certain things that I want to see, certain things that I want done. So I want that person.
So did
somebody else may
more
want
of a virtual ISA?
Yeah, kind of. Because my virtual assistant, I put more on KV Core. I've got them more digging in the weeds. I've got them looking for sale by owners, and finding either through Zillow or for salebyowner.com. I'm trying to get them to get something like that engaged, to where I can come in and hopefully drive that business. I've got them digging in through older people in my database, because even though I've only been in this 3 years, I've been able to amass probably 5,000 to 7,000, maybe even more than that, people in my database.
Nice.
Of old clients, or clients that have dropped off, decided not to buy, and maybe even bought for somebody else, or whatever it is. So we're following up with those people to see if they're still in the market. Maybe they're going to come back. And then also trying to, like any special projects that I have, because I'm constantly building either marketing materials, I'm building spreadsheets, I'm doing things that either are helping my clients, helping me, or helping my people on my team, because I do all of the marketing. That's one of the things I did in a prior life. So I'm really good at building videos and building marketing material, and I know how to kind of make sure you stay on point and stay with the brand. So um, my ISA, or the virtual assistant, that's what I have them working on.
Gotcha.
So, but like I said, that's probably entirely different than the way you may structure it. So I think you have to know what you want.
Right.
And I think that's sometimes a challenge that realtors and agents could probably do a better job of sitting back and thinking for a minute, hey, I'm running a business. I'm not a realtor. I am Ryan Ketton Inc., and I need this particular skill set to try to enhance my business. What does that look like? Write a description and actually put that in motion versus just saying, hey, give me this, Ryan, tell me tell me what to say exactly. Because the thing is if I put that description, or I think you actually shared a description, if they send that out there and they put that description and somebody matches that 100% and they respond and they hire that person, they're probably going to come back 3 or 6 months from now and go, gosh, this person's a dud. They're not doing what I want. Well, they're doing exactly what you described. It just doesn't happen to be what you need.
Right. And yeah. And I've heard it said too, like, what you need to do in terms of your team is whatever you deem non-income producing activities. That's what you need to take off your plate. So like for me, it was a transaction coordinator, like 100% right out of the gate. Get the, putting paperwork in, Sky Slope is not an income producing activity for me. I'd rather be out there shaking hands and kissing babies and showing houses and, listing and selling. Those are money making activities for me. Going through and making sure I've got every signature on every page and every little, nit-nacky thing I need to put in my checklist. That is not an income producing activity for me. And when we're doing, 20 deals a month, I don't have time for that. That's just, that's way too much stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now that you've hired your VA and you've hired your first agent, now are you going for new agents, less than 2 years in the business, or seasoned agents? Like because I know I've heard it both ways, especially with teams, they like, if I get a seasoned agent, it's just, too much work because I got to reverse bad habits. Or if I get newer agents, they're teachable and coachable.
I spend a lot of time talking to the person, so I don't really care if they're new, if they're old, just got their license. For me personally, it's do they fit the culture of what I want my team to be. It's interesting. We have weekly meetings. I have weekly meetings with my team, and we actually have an individual that has been in the business longer than I have that comes to that meeting because they feel like they get value. Now, there's somebody that's kind of in my downline. They're in part of my group, but they come because they feel like that they get value out of it. I certainly feel like they get to they also add value by being able to kind of chime in on whatever direction that I'm doing. So I personally think it's really about the culture of what I want my team, my company, my group to be, and does that person fit it? Because I don't want to just, personally for me, I don't want to just blow up and expand and bring everybody that I can possibly bring in there. Yeah, okay, great. I may get some type of financial benefit from that, but that's not who I am and who I want to be. I would rather people look and go, oh, wow, Keaton Group, that's a special organization. If I go into that, I know what I'm getting. So that's what I'm trying to build within our group, is that culture.
Gotcha. So are you running a self-organized team, or are you running an actual team where you're with reduced splits and everything?
I am actually running a team with reduced split, or well, I get a portion of their splits of their transactions.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's what we're running too. Yeah, it's interesting how, different people find value in different ways in that. And I've got a gal on my team who she's like, I know I could do this on my own, but I like having the accountability and I'm willing to pay for that. She says that she just finds so much value. It's such a huge benefit when you have a group of people that are all on the same page and that are all wanting to win together. And, and I preach this all the time. It's like, it's kind of like, have you seen the movie Bad Boys?
Yes.
Yeah. Where they're like, one last ride, bad boys for life, like we have this, like, I feel like we have this kind of camaraderie there where it's like, we're in this together, we're all going to win together. We're going to ride together. We're going to die together, like that mantra,
Yeah, I remember I was at whenever we were at a shareholders meeting or one of the meetings that we were at. We were in a little breakout, and I was talking to this guy. Had been in the business for like I think 9 or 10 years. Was crazy high production, and he was part of a team, and he wasn't even the team leader, and he was giving up a huge volume of his, in my estimation, a huge volume for being with EXP or a huge percentage. And I was trying to understand that, not disparaging it in any way. I just was for understanding. It was like, dude, whatever in the world your leader's doing, I want to be able to do that. Not from the financial standpoint, but you obviously see value. And that's what he said. It was just, everything was about what he felt like he was getting out of the team, the fact that they had structure, they were having meetings. And, he was he was actually at one of the traditional box places before he moved over to this and got a higher percentage, which almost never happens, than what he was getting from this team. But what he said he got out of this team, and that was what was driving his production. He said, I'd rather get a smaller percentage of a bigger piece of pie than a bigger piece of, a smaller amount of money. So
I
that
mean,
was pretty eye-opening.
Yeah, here's the theory behind it is this, that we all need some level of therapy.
Yeah.
Whether that's group therapy, individual therapy, whether it's recreational therapy or, exercise therapy or whatever that is, we all need some level of therapy. And a lot of people are just not internally wired to do that all by themselves. They like, it's the idea that, you know, um, could you survive if somebody dropped you off on an island with a laptop and $100 with no idea what you're doing? Or would you rather be in a group of 100 people in a mastermind, paying, $5,000 a year to get the knowledge of the group? And at the end of the day, like, they want the knowledge of the group, because if you can live vicariously through other people's experiences and learn a lot faster, the learning curve, you're gonna make more money. So at the end of the day, you're spending the money somewhere. It's just, it looks different on paper.
Yeah.
And
Isn't it
so,
interesting though that is really what can separate and make you a better agent as well, is that recognizing different people need different things.
yep.
Because I had mentioned to, I was talking to, a couple of my team members, and I was telling them about doing this and doing the eye conversations, and they're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't, gosh, you're going to be up there in front of you. Aren't you terrified? And I was like, no, I mean, I've done that. I kind of like that. I enjoy teaching, and I'm comfortable in that kind of environment. And they're like, oh, that would just kill me. But I also think that that's the same way whenever you're going out and you're talking to these clients, and you alluded to it earlier, that a lot of agents will get into this machine, house, I'll show them this till I get to there. Whereas, I don't show people typically 10, 12, 15 houses. I usually show them maybe 3, if that, because I spend time getting to know these people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I get the trust from them. So I don't need to show you 12 houses, because you've told me 9 of those houses, they just ain't going to get there. So we can go look at them if that's what you truly want to do. But I can tell you, we're going to be there about 5 minutes and go, okay, Ron, I'm sorry I wasted your time, or, sorry, I wasted my own time, really is what the most valuable thing is. Talking about the client wasting their own time to drive out there and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just didn't fit. It wasn't what they needed. And I think that's the same thing when you're building a team, is trying to look at that different people. I think it goes exactly to what you're talking about, that everybody's hardwired differently and just needs different things to get them kind of going and motivated.
Yep. And it's funny because, this gal, she's just like, she was just so like, she did so much more volume with the team because she's got a cheerleader somebody behind her that's just being like, you got it, you're so close,
Yeah.
you got this. Like, I can't even tell myself that I got this some days, you know?
Yeah.
And I was pretty self-motivated until I realized that there's so much more when you have the power of the group behind you, you know? Awesome. So, okay. So now what does the Keaton group look like here going forward?
Well, I do want to add some people to the team. We actually meet I'm licensed only in Kentucky. That's by choice. I've had a couple of people trying to get me to do the other states, but I do enough volume here that I don't need to add additional states because I know my mentality that if I'm licensed over there, okay, fine. Yeah, there's a leaderboard. I want to go up it. So,
Right.
and that's just not reality. There's only so much you can do no matter what systems you have in place. So I would like to add some people that's in West Virginia, in Ohio, because we meet right there in the middle. So, or we're right where those three come together.
Okay.
So I'd like to add some people there. I've also been talking to some people that, just different people I've met throughout doing this for the last 2 to 3 years, that I've got even in a different parts of the country that are potentially interested in talking to me about joining the group just because they want to be part of what we're doing. Those people have started kind of contacting me. So I don't know if that'll come to fruition, but that's kind of cool because I'm not seeking to grow outside of this area. That's the other thing that I've never done, is I didn't intentionally go out to build a team until the last couple months, 3 months. I was like, okay, I want to build a group and I want to do some things here, but I didn't go out and do a lot of attraction or those kind of things. It was people calling me and saying, hey, tell me about this. Because, I didn't want to recruit. That just wasn't my mentality, that I truly wanted and liked the idea of attraction, that if I'm doing good things, putting off good vibes, people are going to want to, be attracted to that, and we'll have conversations, and maybe it fits it, maybe it doesn't. And that's okay. That's not everybody's built for what you're doing or where you're at. And that's what I keep reminding my team, or trying to remind my team. It's like, I push because I want you to do more. I want you to learn. I want you to think outside the box, but you don't have to be or have the desire to do what I'm doing. You may not want to do 94 transactions, even if I teach you how to. It may not
I
be
don't
in
want
your
to do
DNA.
94 transactions.
I
I've done the
though. I
math on
truly
that.
love
Dude.
it. I
I've
truly
done the
love
math.
it though. It is it's a lot of work, but I mean I absolutely enjoy it. I mean I truly honestly that means I've helped that many people achieve a dream in their life, because that is buying a home, whether it's your second home, first home, downsizing. It's always, if not the biggest purchase you've ever made in your life, it's
Oh,
certainly
I
right
don't
at the
doubt that.
top. So I helped those people with that. I helped get them through that. I helped find many of these. I found the home. They sent me something and said, oh, I want this. Let's go look at these three. And I'm like, yeah, no, this is really what you're looking for. I'll show you those three, but I bet you come back to this one, because I just know the market so well,
Yeah.
doing those transactions I'm in and out of these houses.
Well,
So
you've been in all the houses. If
yeah,
you've done 94 transactions, you've been in everything that's for sale.
yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
I honestly believe that way, that just how blessed am I that I get to guide somebody through the biggest transaction that they've ever made in their life. And 99% of the time when we get to the end of that, how grateful and how thankful they are that they've gotten to that point. Because we all know deals, just you have things go sideways and
Yep.
you do that. So being prepared for that, preparing your client for that, hey, some things are going to go sideways sometimes. I'm going to do everything I can to be out on top of that. I'm going to educate you so that way whenever we get through this, but trying to be the most educated agent that I can. So as we're dealing through those transactions, it doesn't go totally off the rails and everybody loses their mind and you lose a deal. It's just like, okay, we kind of talk about this. So I really feel like I'm blessed to be able to do what I do. And your family, you can ask my family. there's no doubt that I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I try to
Awesome.
constantly
Yeah.
educate myself. So
Yeah, it's gotten so contagious. My wife's getting licensed. She's actually taking the class right now. So,
it is awesome. My fiance is a hairdresser, and I promise you, she's my biggest cheerleader. It's like all of her clients is like, oh, Ryan sells real estate, right?
oh,
So
dude, I got a guy in our local area here. His wife is a hairdresser, and he probably gets 30% of his deals from that. Because she's like snippety snip. Oh, hey, where are you from? And she always works in a real estate conversation every time. It's pretty
yeah.
awesome. So real quick, with our last few minutes we got time here, is one is what systems are you using to keep track of 94 transactions? Because you've got to be super, super organized on that.
Yeah.
And then the other one is what's something cool that you're doing right now that's just completely unreal estate related?
Yeah, so systems wise, I run everything through KV Core. That's primarily my follow up system, and I have spreadsheets and different things like that I have built in regards to follow up with my clients. So they go into a certain spreadsheet, and I know exactly when they should close. I know what I'm going to make, what I'm going to pay out, all those kind of things. So what that does primarily is that I can track and I can look and see what I did last year. Where do I want to be this year? Where should I increase spend here? Should I take away from this? Is this resource working to get, to provide my business value? Or is it taking away? Could I move this elsewhere? And then, as far as with, new leads, I try to call those things, if I get a new lead, whether it be Realtor, Facebook, or some revenue source that I've generated, I try to get to them within the first 3 to 5 minutes to make sure I'm touching base with them as quickly as possible. And then I have a follow-up system that I've kind of built that is a 7-day follow-up that is a blend of several text, call, email. I have very specific information that I'm going to say to them, and then on what day, because I find that really matters. And it's funny because I came up with this kind of I think it's day 4 that I use it, but basically if I've not gotten any response out of this person after, 3 days for whatever reason on a lead or something that I got that was more of a cold lead through either Realtor, Zillow, or Facebook or whatever it was. And it's basically terminology around, hey, gosh, I really don't want to spam you. I know I've reached out, but it's very specific in what I say. And the response rate that I get from that specific message is probably 60-70%, because it is somebody showing, oh, crap. Oh, yeah, he has sent us a few things and we haven't followed up. Or it's somebody just not even realizing that they haven't followed up, or they're like, oh, okay, yeah, he's putting a little more effort into this than maybe, somebody else we're talking to. So anyway, the response rate on that's really good. And if it doesn't, I know the next I almost to a T know how the next 2 to 3 days are going to go of this follow-up. I still follow my little trajectory, but after day 7, I kind of put them in a different system, and they're a little bit slower drip. So,
and are you doing that follow-up, or is your VA doing that follow-up?
That first 7-day follow-up is this guy.
Okay.
And I'm doing that specifically, and I'm also allowing KV Core to drip and do some of that thing. So, KV Core follows up in a different way. My way is very specific and very oriented towards them. I let the KV Core kind of drive more of the email and their terminology, because they're asking some different questions than I'm asking, and it's a different phone number. So, maybe something that I've done hasn't quite registered with them, but they see this new phone number and they think, oh, this is a new person, because that's driven by my smart number. So
Sure.
I just try to reach different points to see what's going to resonate. So that's kind of cool. So trying to think of what else. So, but yeah, those are my main systems, like I said, in Excel spreadsheets and things like that I've built to follow up and look at how did I do last year versus this year. also what clients do I have going right now, and is that trending and trajectorying towards trajectorying, is that a word?
Sure. All of our English majors are like freaking out right
Yeah,
now.
it's like, who's this guy?
Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, so that I basically use that so that way I can kind of, that helps me with my business plan and marketing, and also too making sure that I'm staying on top of those deals to move them forward. And of course, I get lots of apps and things of that nature that I kind of go in and out of depending on, for follow up, because I'm really, really, really big on follow up, which
awesome.
you have to be.
You gotta be. You gotta be obsessed about it.
Stay on top of it, because but if you look at, all of my reviews, a lot of the reviews is all just about, how accessible Ryan was, how he stayed on top of it. He really tried to find our house, those kind of things. And that's because I've just got these systems. I'm a big, big systems guy.
Sweet. Awesome. All right. Well, I was going to have you do one more, but I think we're running out of time here. So,
yeah.
Ryan, dude, this has been awesome. I know that this is going to feed a lot of people's brains, and they're going to be overloaded with all this good nuggets of knowledge you were able to drop today. And so if anybody wanted to either join your team or send you a referral, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, the easiest way to get in touch with me is either call or text. My cell phone is 606-782-2459, or they can email me at ryan.keaton@exprealty.net. And of course, good old Facebook, still using that.
Oh, yeah. That's funny to say that.
It's a big part of it. Yeah. It is old. It's sad. I was alive whenever it was created, but
I know. So funny.
But thank you for this opportunity. I really do appreciate the chance to come on here and talk with you. I mean, you're doing some pretty exciting things as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. And if anybody wants to reach out to me for a free coaching call, I'm doing those right now. 30 minutes, you get absolutely free if you're looking to build a team or looking to get some structure on scaling from a rainmaker agent to starting a big team. Just reach out to me, 307-772-1184. And if you're looking to wanting to join EXP, you can text Ryan on the number you just gave, or you can text me at my phone number, 307-772-1184, and just text the word EXP, and we'll reach out to you with some more information. All right, man. Well, thanks a lot. And we'll catch you guys all on the next episode of the Success Agent Podcast.